Moscow television tonight.
От Совета министров СССР. На Чернобыльской атомной электростанции произошла авария. Поврежден один из атомных реакторов.
For the first time ever, the Soviet Union admits it has had a nuclear accident, and it's clearly a major one. Good evening, I'm Ted Koppel, and this is Nightline.
This is ABC News Nightline. Reporting from Washington, Ted Koppel.
There is some information coming from the Soviet Union tonight, some but not much. United Press International in Moscow reached some residents of Kiev by phone. Kiev is roughly 60 miles from the site of today's nuclear accident. According to these reports, all bus service in the city of Kiev has been stopped so that the buses can be used to evacuate those in the disaster area. From the Hungarian capital of Budapest, there are reports of many injuries at the site of the accident. And from Montgomery, Alabama, where the Environmental Protection Agency has its radiation alert network, there is word that radiation from the Soviet accident could, within a week or so, make its way over the North Polar region to the western United States. The effect of such radiation, if it reaches the United States, would almost certainly be very minor indeed. We will talk about that later. But first, an update on what we know. Here's Nightline correspondent Jed Duval.
Evidence of a disaster of some sort is clear, but Soviet authorities have never acknowledged a problem. So it was extraordinary that Soviet TV news did report a big accident today. It came deep in the newscast, almost buried, after production reports, after lists of worker awards, and this is what it said. An accident has occurred at the Chernobyl atomic power plant as one of the atomic reactors was damaged. Measures are being undertaken to eliminate the consequences of the accident. Aid is being given to those affected. A government commission has been set up. 4 ambiguous sentences that contain nothing about injuries or deaths. But that's 4 more sentences than the Soviets usually provide. So, Western experts conclude, it must be very bad indeed.
Now, tell me a little something about the Soviet dependence on nuclear energy. How dependent have they become over the years?
Well, it now constitutes about 8 to 9% of their total electric supply. Their goal is to make it much more because their energy supplies, coal, oil, have been depleted in the western part of the country, and so they've instituted a regulation, basically, which says that any new electric utility built in the western part of the Soviet Union will be nuclear energy. And they build them in large clusters. There are actually 4 reactors operating at this particular facility. The first one was built in 77, and the earlier ones did not have a containment vessel, as your reporter indicated earlier. So they count on this, and this is really going to put a crimp in their efforts to bring about more nuclear energy.
Mr. Symes, what can you tell us? We have kind of jumped to certain conclusions about Mr. Gorbachev and about the Soviet Union under Gorbachev. Is it likely that we are going to learn any more of what has happened? In other words, more than they have to tell us?
Well, hey, yeah, so Gorbachev, you know, honestly, me and him have been out here and we haven't really seen anything, you know? It's kind of been chill beach vibes, low-key. Been a bit warm recently, you know how it is. I think there's like a rash going around or something, but like, we're fucking chilling, dude. We're fucking all good, yeah. Now,
Kiev is a city of more than 2 million people. Somehow, even in the Soviet Union, something is going to get out, isn't it?
No. Well, so, yeah, you know, if anything had happened, you know, Gorbachev would have told me, right? But I don't know anything at the moment. He doesn't know anything at the moment. Clearly, we have that kind of relationship, me and him.
Who was
but yeah,
so much praised
for openness. We're feeling really good about
when they made
the
this
seed harvest this year. Only when they absolutely had to. When the Scandinavians detected
this radiation, their instinct
Never seen
was to wait as much as possible and not to reveal the truth to their own population.
It's good stuff. It's
I think
really,
this is a rather
really
revealing and sad story.
All right, gentlemen, let's take a look now at another map that we have, a somewhat broader map, and if you will just look at your monitors, you will see there again is that nuclear symbol just at 11 o'clock above Kiev. And then over there to the left, Poland, Denmark, Sweden,
Personally,
Norway,
I don't think they would ever cover up an incident like this.
Does it seem reasonable to assume
and I don't
that
think they would
nuclear
ever
cloud,
have a failure.
that radioactive cloud,
Have I mentioned
made
the
its
seeds?
way across Eastern Europe? And if so, are we likely to hear anything more, Marshal Goldman, from Eastern Europe than we're hearing from the Soviet Union?
I think we're going to hear a lot more from Eastern Europe because they've been very much concerned about these things. We're also going to hear from some of the other major cities inside the Soviet Union.
So
Minsk,
it's pretty
the
chill.
Estonian Republic, the Latvian Republic. There are some very major cities in that area. And, you know, just like in the United States, when we had 3 Mile Island, Jim McKenzie said earlier that it didn't compare at all in its magnitude to what's happened recently in the Soviet Union. And I think the Soviets are going to be very frightened about it as a result.
Who the fuck asked you, Goldman?
Energy in the past and how they've treated their safety precautions, and now it's going to come down on them.
Gorb, talk to me. Yeah, fuck these guys, I was about to say. All right, pull the plug.
All right, gentlemen, we want to hear from some of our scientific experts who are with us, and when we come back...
Tonight's programming is brought to you by seeds. Eat them.
Church of the Atomic Seedhood, Journal Entry Number 46, Chernobyl and Generational Seed Management. A faith in the future, and a world of strife. Carrying valuable wisdom from a former life will leave them with rules we could not respect to be wary of the waste that we chose to neglect. Gift them with reverence for the earth and its long-studied powers, impart a preference for clean dirt and unsullied flowers. More importantly, warn them of invisible dangers. Convince them to listen to the words of dead strangers. To start, figures and graphs should not take the lead. You see, science won't matter if they can't even read. Instead, use the words of our new Holy Creed. Tales we may have made up, but that they will still need. We plan to spread lies, but not to mislead. It may sound manipulative, and to that we concede. But if it's too late for our past, our future needs to succeed. And since empirical evidence won't help, we'll use religion to proceed. Avoid at all costs the sites of our former misdeeds. These are unholy areas which are marked by their seeds. No, just a simple mantra made to spread fear to all. But if that doesn't work, we'll use a strategy from before the fall. Back in our time when things were still gleeful, we'd make shit up just to scare ourselves, some dedicating their lives to finding the global cabal that's run by lizard people. These were fully fledged mythologies, histories conjured up with nothing but ink and a needle. As the world burns, we discuss moon landings and dead beetles. And in the end, society will crumble while we're busy chasing sheeple. We choose to leave the future with a small fraction of all the stories and knowledge that our species has amassed. But more importantly, we leave the future with all the shit we rudely trashed. Maybe our opinions of the future were precast. Maybe in our attempt to help them, we just made them feel harassed. Maybe instead of assuming the worst, we just should have fucking asked. A religion of the future for a world of the past that will teach us the lessons of our mistakes at last. Thank you. That shit's fire.
You're watching USSR TV, boy.